1, 2. All right, everybody, welcome, Durban. This is the Hunters and Jacquel Culture House. We're really excited that you guys are here. My name's John. Just want to give you a few house rules. Guys, think of, you got incredible talent here today who are going to be, well, let me start. This is the order of events. Let's do that first. So first, we've got Ninel from 5th season who's going to come and chat to you. Her experience is insane, not only in music and in business. Now, what makes these masterclasses super valuable for you guys is that you think of questions. Like, this is a real opportunity to chat, to ask the questions you really want to ask, and you're going to get real answers. This isn't fluffy. This is like real world stuff. You're going to learn about the business of music. And after that, we're going to take a break. So she's going to talk. Then there's going to be a Q&A where you guys are offered to stand up and chat. For the Q&As, would you just put your hand up? We'll bring you a mic. Then you can stand up where you are, ask the question, and then we'll take the mic back. That's for the Q&A part. We'll take a short 15-minute break downstairs. And when you come back up, it'll be Shekhinah and Ninel together. Again, they're going to do a bit of talking about the industry, and then there's a Q&A for that as well. After that Q&A, Shekhinah and Ninel will meet you downstairs. So they'll actually be in the place where you guys are having snacks. You can ask them questions directly. There's another opportunity to actually chat to them on a one-on-one level. So that's really cool. Then after that, you're welcome to stay for the second half of the day. There'll be lunch served here. You're welcome to stay for the second half of the day. The second half of the day is the top 10 are going to be performing on this stage to Shekhinah and to Trezor. And they're going to get real-time feedback. Now, this thing is not just about the performances. What we've noticed about them and why there is value in staying is you guys will learn more from that than from any other part of the day. Hearing these guys at the top of the game, giving critical feedback. And it's not like an idol show. It's nothing like that. It's proper, critical bits that they can improve to make their career better. And also today, at the end of the day, both Trezor and Shekhinah are going to choose one person from the top 10 who are going to move forward and be mentored one-on-one by them. So it's really cool. And just remember, before you get upset, right? This is not a competition, right? It's a talent search. It's always on. It didn't start a week ago. It doesn't end today. It's rolling on. We're continuing it through the whole country, and we're coming back to Durban. And we're already talking about next year. So there's a lot of amazing stuff happening. The talent search, these guys are searching for talent. If you didn't get in one round, there's lots more rounds to get into. We're trying to help as many people as possible. And it's not like and also they're not looking for somebody to make a star. They're looking for someone they can work with and actually do something with. We've seen a few of these where the best artist didn't win. They were like, this guy's amazing, you're okay, but this person, I know I can help you. So you just got to rearrange. This is a place, a day like this can really help you and transform your career. So take full advantage of it. We're so excited that you're here. Please keep your phones off. Second of all, we are live streaming. So if you want anyone else to tune in and know what's happening here, we're on the Jacquel Culture House Facebook and YouTube and Insta, I think. And so we're live right now. What else do I have to tell you? I don't know if there's anything else. Have fun. If you've got any issues, let us know. And we hope you have a great day. We're excited to be here. Before we go any further, I want to introduce to you the founder of this project, the brainchild who has come up with this whole Hunters and Jacquel Culture House, this vision is way more than a talent search. It's designed to really move the needle in South Africa and the rest of the continent. It's designed to really do things so that young artists who are struggling can actually move forward with their career, get the information that they want, and all of those type of things. And I just want to also say, Hunters have been an incredible partner supporting this really groundbreaking project. So thanks to them as well. Without further ado, let's welcome the champ. It's Trezor.
Good morning, guys. You guys sound so cold. Good morning. How you guys doing? Good, good. Thank you so much for coming, man. It's really such a great honor to be here today. I love this city so much. For a lot of people that don't know, I spent 6 years of my life in Durban, you know, and these years were so important for me as an artist because they got to shape me as an artist. I did a lot of open mics right here at the Bed Center, at Wilson Wharf, and just like walk this street, a lot, Smith Street, and actually the first place I ever set my foot in when I came to South Africa, a place where, musical place actually was the Playhouse. So it's really a great moment for me to be here today, and just having you incredible talent and really young, exciting youth here today. Like John said, it's exciting. The Hunters Jacquel Culture House platform is really about empowering the next generation of creatives, and it's a platform that I'm very, very, very passionate about. And I'm hoping we get to share as much knowledge as possible. You get to learn as much as possible because nothing is more powerful than knowledge for an artist career, you know. So I'm here, Shekhinah is here, Ninel is here, you know. I think a lot of the things that really changed my career for me were really information. I got to spend very short bits of time with some really incredible musicians, icons such as PLAYHOUSE, Masterclass, that really changed how I view music, how I view life, and how just I view, you know, a music career, you know. So today is all about that. It's about sharing knowledge, impacting, you know. I know there's so many incredible artists that we'll meet probably a few years later on and that doing really, really well. So it's just an honor to have you all here, and hoping to really be of great substance on your journey that you're going to be traveling. And again, as I said, I'm here, Ninel's going to be here, and Shekhinah is here, so whatever questions you have. But most importantly, man, have a lot of good fun. It's a beautiful day. We are grateful to be here, and thank you for having us. Thank you for showing up today. Thank you so much. My name is Trezor. All right. The first person that will be coming here to share knowledge is Nanel Mason. Actually, Ninel is more than just such an incredible powerhouse. She's an incredible business mind and a really good friend of mine. She comes from a company called Fifth Season, which was my first ever management company, and we did some really great work together for the time we did work together. And we remain good friends, but most importantly, she's an incredible mind in terms of business, artist development. She understands a lot of things that I think are very crucial for young artists and people that are still pushing to break through to know. So please pay great attention, have good time, and again, when there is the opportunity to speak to her, please go and approach her and speak to her. She's really incredible, man. So I'll be welcoming the incredible Ninel Mason. Please come through. Yes. Thank you. You can take a seat again.
All right.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I'll just introduce myself. Thank you, Trez. It's an honor to be here on this particular platform that you founded. I think it's amazing what can happen in just a few years with, I think, the right motivation, the right ideas, and all of the hard work that goes with that. Congratulations on Jacquel. All right. How's my audio? All right, cool. Hi, everyone. Thanks, Trezor, for the generous introduction. My name is Nanel Mason. I'm the co-founder of a company called The Fifth Season. The Fifth Season is an independent record label, talent management, and a creative music agency. and we focus on very, very, what we believe, exceptionally talented African artists, and we partner with them to build careers in the music industry. So I've worked with artists as they're starting out their careers very early on, and I've partnered with them as they've gone on to become multiple award-winning artists, such as Ami Faku. You guys may know her, and AKA. And I think I've worked with them in the capacity as one, I think, first and foremost, an independent label, which was, at the time we started the 5th season, very much needed, because there weren't a lot of independent labels that were specifically looking for music in urban, right? So, urban. Especially South African hip-hop at the time. So at the time I was starting this business, it was the very early days, but the really, really important days of the beginning of SA hip-hop, right? So I'm talking about the Pro Kid era, right? And so there was a big role and a big space that was just missing from the music ecosystem at the time. And we were actually having to start this label because there wasn't enough space for us to actually partner with an artist like AKA at the time. Because the international labels weren't necessarily feeling the same excitement about South African hip-hop as we were. So as a label, I think also as an artist manager, and I'm very passionate about the role that management can play in an artist's career over a long period of time. And I think there's some great examples of how important artist management can be for, if you look at some of the most exceptional, successful examples of African artists right now. If you look behind the scenes, you'll find that they all have a strong management team, professional management team, and a long, long, long partnership with them over multiple years. And I think, I'm always happy to speak about that subject and the important role that I think that can play. And then I've also worked as a music marketer. So we all know how competitive music is. We know how important it is to be heard. We know how difficult it is to be distinctive and to stand out. We're at such an important era, I think, in African music right now. This wasn't the era that when we started this, not 10 years ago, not even 5 years ago. This wasn't the space that we found ourselves in as music or as artists, or if we think about how far records have gone onto international charts and into international spaces and clubs and tours, it's incredible. And I don't think we hoped for this, but I don't know if we actually knew what was coming so soon. And to be honest, that's also something that I think happened when everything just came together at the same time during lockdown and COVID, right? It somehow put all the right pieces in place for African music to really thrive globally, and really put a spot on our work and the talent that has always been in Africa from a musical point of view. So for me, I feel like we're in an era of African music right now. I feel as if the spotlight has never shone brighter on our industry and our songs and our artists and our artistry. And I think we've never had this demand and this appetite from the rest of the world, from global media, from international artists wanting to collaborate, for international artists just discovering your music on a DSP like Spotify or Apple, and the DMs from African artists right now, just of people reaching out to them. It's fascinating to me to see that growth. The talent, of course, has always been here. We just really have not had this huge spotlight being shone on us right now, as far as I'm concerned. And it's really a pivotal moment and an important phase, I think, for our industry. And I think it's going to be very interesting to see what happens next and how we can sort of make the most of that opportunity. Something that I said earlier also just about when we look at some of those examples of great leading African artists on a global scale right now, we dissect some of the, you can obviously look at some of these case studies. You can see who's managing who's working with who. You can look at song credits. And when I think about examples like, a Burna Boy, undeniably successful on a global scale, even a Wizkid, right? And then you think about some of the people, I always see who's posting about a release from their management team, and I realize it's some of the same people that were posting about them 10 years ago, when they were starting out and they were pushing that first record, when they were still building name recognition for an artist like Burna Boy, when he was coming to South Africa to, you know, do club shows in Joburg, in Rosebank. And none of this has happened yet. But he has the same team that's still pushing and surrounding him. And I think about some of the strategy behind that. I think about some of those early decisions that would have had to have been made. Even some of the sacrifices. When you decide to, you know, this is my team, this is where I'm sticking. You know, no matter what else is attractive out there, it's not a good time. Let's follow the plan. Let's, you know, be sure we share the same vision. So for me, I feel like there's a correlation between having a good team around you and letting it play out over a period of time if it's working for you, and then really like moving towards it. It allows you to focus on other things that are going to be important in your journey and other milestones for your success. I think it's something that I'm always going to be fascinated by, and probably something I'm always going to continue wanting to look for. And then I think, you know, yeah, I mean, I even think about the examples of the Kardashians, and, you know, I don't know how many seasons they had, but it's something like 20-something with the same network and the same momager. So there's something there. And I think where we've done a good job in terms of sharing a vision with an artist and gone a long time in order to follow that through up until the end of the chapter, it's really worked out. Now, I mean, in this complicated music ecosystem, I mean, I call it a bit of a puzzle, right? Because there's so many different pieces that you need to be aware of as an artist, and so many things that have changed and that constantly change. So, you know, if I think about right now, we need to be able, we're in a brand space right now. You know, this platform is brought to us in partnership with a brand. And so artists need to be more aware than ever before about the opportunities of partnering with a great brand in order to make, you know, can really actually realize your dreams in terms of certain things that you have to execute, and making it possible by providing a platform, by providing additional resources, guidance, and so forth. And that on its own is something that, you know, a management team would need to help you, you know, sometimes navigate, either using a network or a connection to make their introduction, to making a great pitch, to figuring out what some of the marketing incentives could be for a brand to jump onto your project or your event or platform. You know, on the recording side, there's a lot that needs to be studied in terms of what the best way of releasing your music should be. Obviously, we need to understand music rights. We need to understand publishing, recording. We need to understand whether or not, you know, the options to distribute music right now. It's an opportune time. We've never had this many options for distros that have come into the market from the US and elsewhere to try to sign up African music catalogs and distribute music for you globally, digitally. So you've got a lot of choice, and you've got to understand some of those deal structures, some of the lock-in periods that need to happen. Or you could decide to partner with a major label. You could license your music. Publishing is an incredible source of revenue for many artists, and I think it's well understood internationally. And I think here we're still trying to make sure that all artists are aware of this and that it's taken into account as they're building their plans, because having a great publishing partner can be very significant as a source of income for artists. And so that's sort of the recording landscape. And then, of course, we have to remember how important live touring and shows are. I mean, we saw the devastating impact of a lockdown in South Africa. We were unable to perform. And the thing is that even internationally, you know, for the top 10 most profitable artists in the world, tour revenue can make up to about 75% of the income. And I'm talking about sort of like Beyonce levels. That's how important touring used to be for an artist revenue and sort of bottom line. And navigating the live space obviously requires quite a few inputs. And this is, again, also something that a management team can help. Besides your live show and curating that, your set, your band or live elements that you have on stage with you, you know, there's things that add to entertainment and production value, like your visuals and creatives behind you. you've got to have a great road manager with you to be able to call ahead to the venue, say, you're running late, where do we park, where are the tags? These are some of the things that a really polished or experienced management team would help with. So I guess what I'm saying is, amidst this puzzle that is the music industry, that, you know, is something that all artists exploring all of these various aspects need to navigate. You can think of the manager as the person sort of alongside you. It's not only an execution role in terms of helping things get done. I think ideally it should be a strategic role. It should be an advisory and a guide. You know, I think I'm always fascinated by these stories of people that climb, that summit these mountains, you know, like Mount Everest, right? Kilimanjaro, any African summit is obviously also super hard and worth chatting about. But there's this relationship with somebody that knows the mountain, that accompanies you. So it's not just about walking, it's not just about stamina, it's not just about, you know, I'm sure very uncomfortable positions that you need to put yourself in to endure that, right? An endurance thing. But the guys that know the curves and the layout of that mountain, they can see around corners quite literally when you can't, right? So you could be on base camp 1 and enjoying the view, but the person, the Sherpa character, actually understands what lies ahead, what's around the corner, what's coming, when to stop, when to pause, when to take a break. And I think if you can think about a partnership with your management team like this, then I think it will help you sort of figure out where it all falls into place and what you as an artist will need from that relationship. And I think, you know, I speak a lot about expectations whenever I begin working with a new artist, because I think that's really important for both sides. And I think, you know, professional managers have certain ways of doing things. They will meet certain expectations. And I think there's also a lot of things that managers don't do. You know, it's not automatically your banker. It's not automatically the person that drives you. You know, a lot of those things get sort of bundled on in a lot of scenarios, and that's okay, especially when you're just starting out. But I think understanding exactly what you expect from that relationship as a management team and as the artist in that management team setup is really important from the get-go. I think there are a lot of things that sometimes can go wrong when those things are not clear, or when they don't stay the same or change over time. And that's okay too. I think it's not necessarily a bad thing, and everybody grows. And in fact, where would we be without growth? Nobody wants to remain in the same position. But yeah, those are some of my thoughts about where management fits into the equation for artists, why I think it's an important role and decision for an artist to make, and I guess why I've started this business and why I started a company like the Fifth Season. I hope it explains that too. So I was wondering if I should pause there for any questions. Yes, please do.
Okay. So you speak in a lot of the things you're speaking about. It seems because you've been in the industry, you've been doing this for so long, that's quite high level.
Mm-hmm.
But if you think about artists that they don't, their problem is not a road manager, because they still got to get those gigs. They got to sort of get up that first thing. Can you talk a bit about the management role when you're right on the ground, still trying to get to that first thing?
Mm-hmm. So in that initial phase, we're figuring out a lot of what seem like small decisions, but will play a very important role going forward. We're, you know, even deciding on certain things like sound from an A&R point of view. And that's how things usually kick off, right? So we'd hear a song, maybe shared with us, maybe we'd be at a live venue space, we'd see somebody come up on stage and, you know, be sort of touched by it and want to connect further, which means we maybe continue a conversation with that artist. That happened recently, actually. We were doing a showcase with one of our artists, Kekelingo, and he'd asked a guest to do an opening act. and she was somebody that wasn't from SA. She was actually down from Botswana, and she was just incredible. She had everything that you would want as a manager, right? She had a very defined sound. She had an exceptional voice talent. She looked like she knew herself in the way that she had styled herself, in the way that she came across, in her intonations, even in her writing, in terms of how relevant those lyrics were to a young person right now listening to the song. And that, by the way, is some of the things that managers look for, right? So that sort of package of all those unintentional tick boxes, right? Of those things that are happening, that you're experiencing, that make you see more potential for that artist. You know, in some cases, it's not as easy to define the sound. You know, I remember when we signed Ami, it was off the back of being on Idols and The Voice, and the feedback that she got from those shows was that she didn't almost have enough potential to succeed in a long career in the music industry because of what the mandate of those shows were, right, and what they were looking for. And we heard The Voice once and we were blown away. We couldn't understand why no one had, done this before us. Why didn't anybody see what we saw, what we felt? And from that point onwards, it becomes a lot about figuring out who to partner with best for what that artist wants to create in terms of producers, where to record, where to create things. And usually, if things are going well, you have more than one track to choose from, more than one record that you want to decide to put out that you want to maybe introduce to the market. And it's a live experiment, really, because you're going to get feedback right away. The minute you drop that link, you're either going to get likes, clicks, you're either going to get onto a playlist on Apple, or they're going to overlook you. But then, it could get picked up on TikTok, and all of a sudden, people are using your audio in their TikTok videos, or something could happen on YouTube where it gets picked up in maybe a territory outside of South Africa, and suddenly, you're getting calls from people that you didn't even plan on meeting with. I mean, there's the funniest story with Trezor when we got that call from Italy. And I laugh about it with my business partner Benza, because I wasn't sure. It was such a strong Italian accent that I wasn't sure if it was a real person calling or if it was an actual. And it was a representative of a record label in Italy that was blown away by one of the records that Trezor wrote and produced and recorded, and that wanted to enter into a partnership with him. And that was not these things happen when there's enough momentum pushed into something, right? And something unintentional, surprising, and amazing can happen. But that you're pushing every day as from a marketing point of view, especially digital marketing, you're making the right decisions in terms of who to partner with that will get you either broader reach, or maybe it's in a specific segment that you want to make sure you're successful in. But yeah.
Cool, and then one more, and then I'll pass it on. And that is for those, who don't have access to fifth season, or self-managing, or their buddy is managing, or they're managing. What can those managers? What are sort of common mistakes or things that those managers can do to start building momentum for an artist?
There's so much. First of all, I think there's so much information on how certain things were done before that you can try to study and learn from as a manager. And I think it's important for managers to figure out how they can be better managers if they decide to do it. Because, if you are in a trusted relationship, or if it's a friend of yours, you want to make sure that you don't let them down, right? You want to make sure that when crunch comes to it, you've done all that you can. And that can also be a great partnership because, there could be mutual trust. There's familiarity. You feel very comfortable saying things. There could be a lot more honesty. But then the manager needs to go out there and decide, okay, I'm doing this as a professional. I'm doing it as a job, which means that even if nobody's giving me official training on it, and there's on-the-job training as I'm rolling with you out to interviews or out to shows, but I'm also figuring out other things that I can see, other professional managers have done. There's so much information online. There's so much information, even if you just follow certain newsletters and subscriptions. Some of the digital stores like Spotify do specific, sort of 101s and information sharing. And I think what ends up happening is eventually that knowledge, knowledge comes from consolidating information and then the learning that goes with that. And that's really the position that you want to be in as a manager. And I think artists are more aware than ever before about some of these learnings within the music industry. And I think that creates a really good, it's a conversation for the most part in terms of sometimes sharing, debating, and arguing about some of these things to make sure that you sort of feel good about the next decision or the next steps that you take for a music release or for, releasing a project. Yeah.
Great. There's a question right here. If you could just stand up and talk into the mic.
Hello, everyone. My name is Ultrablan Lindi. I'm the CEO of a company called KwaZulu Republic with my business partner, Mkusel Bandes. So basically, I want to talk about...
You.
Thank you. Nice to meet you too. So I basically want to talk about leverage, right? So me and my two lawyers last year, we were talking in May about like leverage and how to leverage that with a company like TFG, the Foschini Group or Sports Scene, right? Mm-hmm. So basically how I sell my latest project with the Stay Pure, like a customer will like buy like a cap, right? Goes to the Republic cap for like 250 or tracksuit for like 1.5 or 2 grand. And then they receive like my music, right? That's the only way to receive my music. You can't get it anywhere else. So I make money with that, right? Thank you. So now I don't have like a gazillion followers, but this project that is not available on Apple Music has made me more than 6 figures, right? So I'm trying to talk about leverage. How do I approach a company like Sports Scene, right? Because I want my clothes to be sold at Sports Scene. You walk in a Sports Scene, you're like, oh my God, there's KwaZulu Republic. I know Jay's messing with that. And then you buy the cap, and then you go to the till, you pay 250, then you get my CD and my contacts, whatever. So as a manager, do you need leverage with numbers, or do you leverage as in, do you want me to show you my invoices and prove that you have actually made 6 figures from this? What's more important, the actual money that I can command or the followers that I have online?
That's an interesting question. And to be honest, it's probably both. I think how I see it from my perspective, we have to have enough potential for many, many, many of those milestones, right? So many more of those deals. So I guess it's not so much about looking at the past. That does show that, you had a great idea and it worked, and there was some translation into money stuff. But I think I'd be more interested in the bigger plan, right? And it's great to have, even if it does come with some exclusivity to begin with, you were able to really, you proved your concept, right? And so we need to be able to figure out how we can replicate that on a bigger scale, because that's what you would want, right? You're not just going to want the customers from a particular store. You want to build it into something bigger. And I mean, Sports Scene, for example, is a great choice. They really focus on a lot of activations. They have an in-house radio. They do a lot of campaigns with music. There's a very strong link between fashion and music. There always has been, especially in, what's your genre, actually?
Well, I'm actually a music producer as well.
Okay.
I'm actually a music producer as well. Like I've worked with Yashna, Raya Black, Robin Third Floor. Okay. I've had like Jägermeister spend 6 figures on music videos that I've produced. So things are operating. But now
I like it.
But now, like me and my lawyer were talking about, like in Sandton to hire a store, it's like 2.8 thousand rand per square meter. In Mall of Africa, it's like 1.7, and it's different stuff. So like the aim of the game is to like eventually become like Apple. Apple is a vertically integrated company. Well, fine, GQ isn't GQ is managed by this company called Condé Nast, right? Yeah, that's the company that owns GQ and Vogue. Condé Nast, they have an office in Cape Town, right? So I'm talking to Molife, and Molife is like, okay, fine, blah, 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 but you have to accomplish these certain things, and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, man, I need them connects, bro. I'll pay you. I'll pay you. So, that's what I meant with it, bro. The final goal basically is to become vertically integrated. I can make the music, I can make the clothes, and I'm looking at distribution. But distribution in itself is a problem. So,
Thanks for...
Isn't this exactly what Kanye's problem was?
Yeah, I see some Kanye tendencies as well. Yeah, which I'm a fan. But I think you have to be very clear on what you're achieving when. It's great to have a big picture goal and it sounds as if there are multiple things that you're trying to go after and achieve. But there's also an approach of focusing on things in a step-by-step way, and also making sure that certain of the things that are going to be needed are done by partners, so that it's not all coming from you. There's a lot of way of going to, if you decided to just focus on music and be the most in-demand, biggest audience, biggest selling, award-winning artist, there are many things that will then put you in a position to be able to do that may be unrelated to music. That could be fashion, that could be the cover of GQ magazine. And as somebody that has managed to get artists on the cover of a GQ magazine, that's the approach that I would follow. Because success or accolades in one aspect can translate then into what you're talking about in terms of your whole supply chain going to all the different aspects, yeah?
I'm just going to add something on what Ninel is saying, just enhance from experience. I'm a really great advocate of the music, meaning I do believe everything starts with the music. Like everything really is centered around the music. Nothing else matters, really, like honestly. Like when I say nothing else matters, is that Kanye can only be Kanye because of the music. Music comes with power. It comes with a lot of things, so it's actually crazy. I mean, you only get to understand it when it happens. What happens is that once the music is out, once the music is getting momentum, once the music is getting a light in spotlight, bro, the amount of those and people that call from out of nowhere is insane. She was giving you guys an example, actually. What happens that I used to live in Westville, 2018, 13, I think, 2008, 13. And there was this song I did called Mount Everest that eventually actually AK featured on later and went on to become #1 in Italy. And I met this song in a small apartment in Durban, and that song changed my life. That particular song was like a 3-minute piece of music that really sparked everything. So what I'm trying to say is that it's really great to have incredible ideas as an artist, but please do not overlook the most crucial part first. So when you have the music, yes, you can go through merchandise, you can have this really incredible innovative ideas, which I think is really incredible for you as an artist to have, right at the beginning of your career. But I think, these guys from magazines and all these things, man, they come crawling when you have the power, and the power comes from the music, pretty much. Yeah.
100%. I think that I've had conversations maybe in seeding an idea for GQ magazine and then waiting a year or two before it actually comes to fruition, because they need to believe that that's going to be a good idea for their business to put that person on the cover, right? Or you're in a position where honestly they're just calling you. And one of the things that you have to, I think, caution against would be to not do, all the things, all the awards. We've never gone into something saying, oh, this is going to get us an award. We actually just focus, as Trezor was saying, on making that the best record or the best thing, and then putting everything we have behind that. And then you know what? You don't pitch for awards. They come to you. They nominate you. They recognize your work. And the whole thing sort of comes together. So, yeah.
Who else? Can somebody else have a question? Over here. Coming. If you don't mind standing, and I'll pass you the mic.
Hello, everybody. My name is I'm Rosetta Deep. I am a DJ
Hi.
and a producer. I do deep house. So I'd like to ask, what advice would you give to an upcoming artist who is still looking for maybe management, or what can they do to put themselves out there while they are still in the process of getting the right management?
Thanks. That's a really good question. And to be honest with you, this where we are right now is the time for a young female DJ. I think you've got spectacular examples of some really great careers as female DJs around you that have just blown up. And over quite a short period of time in some cases, because I think we were waiting. We were waiting for more of those examples to step into DJ booths in clubs everywhere, right? So you've picked a really great, I would say a sweet spot even right now. And I think, with DJs, one of the great advantages that you have is that you can keep it pretty light in terms of, getting everywhere. You're quite agile, unlike a live performing artist with a band and a bigger setup. And that's really important for promoters and venues at the moment that are trying to also do gigs at, not always a full, live backline budget. So you're a great plug-in. And I think one of the things that DJs need to do is to build a lot of credibility with venues and promoters so that getting on lineups, you become a top of mind. And they actually probably need to become like friendships. That's how close you or, your people need to be to some of those. And starting in Durban, obviously, that's where you're based, is a good setup before you eventually grow out. And one of the things I've seen DJs or early on do is, sometimes you may not get a flight paid to Joburg plus a fee for your set, plus. But go position yourself over a busy season in one of the other not hometown cities, right? So say, I'm going to go to Cape Town for 2 weekends. I'm going to figure out where a friend to stay at or something that makes sense for your budget. I'm going to get one anchor gig. The rest I'm going to promo. I'm going to go do intro sets at all of these venues that don't know my name yet. And I'm going to knock it out, and I'm going to make sure that I call them the next week and say, hey, when can you book me now? Because, you've seen what I can do. Or you plan another one of those now and you go to Pretoria, which also has a big, DJ scene. So you can think about things like that. I believe in promo in those early days. And sometimes you just need to get your costs covered, like literally transport or somebody to go with you, to just start getting some traction. Then what you do is you make a flyer. You make a flyer of all the different gigs you did in that Cape Town week. Didn't matter what your fee was, but you're now starting to share that, and everybody's starting to get the hang of it. You're being booked not only just in your hometown in Durban, you're getting to Cape Town. Promoters and venues are recognizing, and actually I've created a little tour for myself that now maybe looks more lucrative than it really was, but you're doing it from a promotion and a marketing and a PR point of view, putting your name out there and building a base of fans and some network within the industry. That's one idea.
Cool. Who's next?
Sure.
I'm going to go over here.
Okay. Greetings, everyone.
Hello.
My name is Cyrus Masinga. So also answer your question, there's something that Apple Music is doing right now, and I think Spotify is getting into it. It's called DJ Mixes, where you can actually upload a DJ mix 1 hour on the platform. So what we've done is we actually started this as a fun thing, because I grew up in a township called Claremont, right? So basically all you hear that side is probably Kom, and also Amapiano, definitely, for sure. So what we did is we created a concept called Zululand to the World, where we use Apple Music as a distributor for those mixes. So we started, the first mix was more Afro House mixed with Kom. Now it's like raw Kom, literally Kom that you won't really find on radio, commercial radio. But we know that we can put it on the DSPs through that DJ mix. So we're working on the third one now, and obviously for like a crazy rollout, we're trying to create merch and all that. First time we're doing it, spending money on something that you really don't know will make you returns, but for the fun of it and actually knowing the sound that you actually rooting for, like you said, you exposed to like deep house.
Yeah.
I'm more exposed to Kom, so that's why I'm going this way. That's why I actually called it Zululand to the world, because I really realized that besides DJ Leg, who's really representing Kom right now in the international space? No one. It's crazy. But there's a lot of producers that side. So
Yeah, and that's important to understand your space, right? To understand the gap, because essentially you're a human product. And I love what you were saying about the mixes, and I've seen that be very successful. I mean, I think about DJs, even like a PH, submitting those DJ mixes. He wasn't always on Metro FM, which is the biggest radio station. You know, we started with campus radio. We started with, you know, if you were at UJ, there's a UJ FM. And you may have a buddy that has a show, that's producing a show that you can introduce a mix on. I remember even with Courtney Paul, you know, that was also part of, you know, she really wanted to get mixes out into the radio, all fed back into her brand. And it became really an important tool.
Cool. Who's next? Who's next? This is gonna go. Okay, come here. So, guys, try keep your questions concise, not whole life stories, if possible.
Okay. Hi, guys. My name is Terrell Ogle. Hi,
Hello.
Ninel. My question is literally on the back of what John was asking. As a grassroots level artist, how do I define my sound? Even though I want to be able to draw from international artists and artists in South Africa, how do I make a sound that is unique to me? Thank you.
Have you made a song? Have you put it out and gotten some feedback?
No. I've not. But I can sing. Ask Shekhinah, she knows.
Well, I mean, this is the thing. Like, you know, with social media, it's a live feedback, right? So maybe years ago, we used to sit in a room as A&Rs and feedback and make decisions on sound over a longer period of time before putting out a record. I don't think you need to wait. If you don't have that and you're not signed to a big label. But if you feel as if you've played a song, it's the same thing that your friend as a DJ will do. You're going to put together your set. You're going to start off with one song. If you don't see anybody vibing with you, you're going to switch it up, right? You're going to cut. You're going to mix into something else. You can do that live. And I think it's really quick to be able to do that with testing new music. I think there's even a demand, you know, if you look at the success of platforms like SoundCloud, which is meant really, or built around unsigned artists and not sort of mainstream big artists. A lot of people are just testing their sound on there. And then you've got people that listen and are proud to say, I don't listen to Apple or Spotify, I'm a SoundCloud mix person, because they actually want to discover new music and listen to things that are not on the radio, that are a little bit different, that are fresh, possibly discovering a new artist. So platforms like SoundCloud could be really powerful in testing new music. And I mean, you can decide if it goes public to everybody and you opening yourself up to that feedback loop, or whether or not you send it to, you know, 30 people that you know and you ask them to really listen and give you some critical or constructive feedback. Sure.
I will just add on what Ninel is saying. I think, you know, that's such a beautiful question. Also, I'm just really passionate about sound. So as an artist that really went through the whole process of really self-developing and really finding my own signature, it's a very lonely and long process, but it's a beautiful journey that is very rewarding, you know. Don't skip it. Have a lot of fun with it, because I think it's very, very important. That's your imprint. It's like your fingerprint. You know, like no one can be able to find it. Like I always tell people, like, you know, for an artist, the most important thing is finding your sonic identity. You know, that's the most crucial part of an artist. Like, you know, for a man, like it's like for a man becoming a man and a woman becoming a woman. You know, it's like it's such a beautiful thing. And personally, for me, I found the journey to be about experimenting. You know, so it's a phase where you should be very fearless about just playing around. I went to a whole bunch of phases, man. I was listening to metal music, I listened to rock,
It's
I
true.
listened to everything, man, you can think of, and without knowing that every single bit of those gave me all the courage and the audacity to be a very different artist, and I feel like your selling point as an artist is your sonic identity. So basically, the most important thing you can do for yourself as an artist is really to go through that process.
Not be one at all. If you put out something that you don't get, doesn't go to number one on streaming or whatever, you've discovered something from that process, and actually you may take all of that in for your second one.
Cool. There's a guy at the back there that I want to give a chance.
Good day, everyone. My name
Hello.
is Mpagamisenim Tresor. I'm known by Chila in music. I use different platforms to push my music. Now, I need an advice on what to do on the DMs I'm getting on Twitter, maybe on Instagram also, asking to promote my music, that I have to maybe give them some fee to promote my music. Is that a good thing to do, or should I just ignore it, or is it a scam?
Yeah, look, I mean, that is very common. And I can't say whether it's a scam or not in each instance. I don't know. It's somebody that's also trying to start their own business and their own hustle. So I don't know. I mean, there's definitely, right now, I think we're busy with the release at the moment, big one. And we have a lot of Instagram blogs, that have come up that are, I'm proud to say, are getting paid to post. But credible ones that I follow, ones that I think I get a lot of news updates for. And I'm glad, because I feel as if when they were starting out, same thing, they were sitting together, a couple of guys saying, we understand Insta, we understand how to post things, how to caption things, we're going to get a following up to 100,000. And then they do that, and now they've created like they can monetize it, and they can bill us for placing something there, which I think is completely credible, completely above board, and that's promo, right? And maybe it's only like 3,000, 5,000 or something like that from a marketing budget from a label, but they get a couple of those every month, and they can continue building from there. In fact, I think now they've actually created, they used to focus on hip hop, now they created a piano one, and now they're creating like a Afrobeat one. So I think that's dope. I think it's more platforms, more new media that's going to be able to share more music and more songs. So it's not always a scam, but I think find out as much as you can. The ones that are usually hard to figure out if it's real or not is like if it's not even a South African number. I get a lot, even Nigeria and like other places where it's really hard to figure out if it's actually a legitimate promo or whether or not it's, just gonna not work out. And yeah, so I would say be very careful, but understand that, promo is not always going to be free or organic. Just like we pay for boosted ads or sponsored Twitter posts, same applies.
Sanbonar.
Oh, hi.
My question is, you spoke about managing artists' expectations. My question comes from like a person who's independent, and like a lot of my friends have signed to like labels and like management things, and I just want to know, when is the point where like you guys shelf an artist? Because like there is that exciting part where he goes to the label and you're excited about him, and then what's the lifespan of like, okay, is it the sales on the first EP or the first single that make you be like, okay, we're not gonna work with you anymore, we're gonna put you on the shelf, or we're gonna, Because that's my question.
I don't. I think it's probably different for everyone, and I think it's not. I would say for me, there's no standard approach to that. I think if we're feeling as if I always know if we're disagreeing consecutively over a period of a long time, we're probably spending too much energy, in opposite directions, right? We're spending more energy disagreeing than actually energy promoting the music or in studio creating a record or doing something more productive. And so that I feel is probably a negative energy and something that, you could then say, let's just have like a transparent conversation. The thing is, artist agreements, recording contracts, all of them have clauses for exit. And I don't necessarily think it's the end of the world when that happens. There's usually there's literally clauses that deal with how to make sure that we now move on into either new agreements or no agreements at all. So it's not. I almost never panic. It's okay. And I think sometimes there's a big apprehension about paperwork and things like that, even from the artist side, which I completely understand. But I think maybe go into it thinking that this is the agreement I'd like to have for now. We're just going to have to see what happens in a year or 2 years or 3 years. Not everything. It's a dynamic thing. It's always moving and evolving. There's things happening around you. Nothing is sort of fixed. So that's what I would suggest. I mean, sometimes we shouldn't, but there's even music that we've focused on where we never even thought about a contract. It happens a lot where we spend up to 6 months or longer working on something. And paperwork is the last thing on our minds because we know that if it has to be about the paperwork, there's a little bit too little trust. So it's not always a good thing, and I'm sure this goes against best practice for the music industry. But when we know that we've gone into something and we've worked and it's working well, that's actually when we feel ready and most comfortable, where signing is no big deal. If we have to do that up front, it's okay. But I'm not saying that's the only thing that needs to happen. Sometimes we just come across, I remember during lockdown, when it was obviously a very uncertain period, we didn't know what was going to happen in our industry and in our business. We had, all sorts of plans which were now not possible. And this shows you that I think even in the business of music, it really is about the music and it's about the song still that drives us. And my business partner actually said he wants to put out a record. It wasn't in our schedule, wasn't in our plan, was from an artist that was not even, in our we have no contracts or roster or agreement with him. And he said, no, we should push the song out. I was like, what does the song sound like? He's like, it's a great song. I'm like, well, we've got, other things. We've got other priorities. There's this whole lockdown. Why do you want to focus on something? He's like, let's just push it out. Get on the phone. The song's actually bigger than South Africa. Call Kenya, call Nigeria. See where we can, get this in front of. We just got to get behind it. And that drove us. Just hearing that song. I heard it too, and eventually I agreed to do everything that he sort of said. And it was Kesta. It was the vocalistic sort of breakthrough track of that period and that EP, 3-track EP that went out. So that's an example where we didn't worry about the usual structures. We didn't, it didn't happen sequentially. It was driven by a great song and something that we all passionately felt. You kind of feel like this is a song the world needs to hear, so let's just do the things. And sometimes that's really as organically as it happens.
Good morning. My name is Bongseni. My stage name is Sibo Sensation. My question is, as a songwriter, how do you approach artists, those experienced artists as a songwriter? Like if you have a song that you have written, so you want to give them a song or just give them an ear, and what are the pros and cons and the disadvantages and advantages of the songs that you are giving to the artist? Thank you.
Well, I think the only thing you can do is try. That's what we all do. And I think it's a lot easier than before to approach artists directly, but you can also make sure that it gets to their team, to the producer that they're working with, to the person in the studio they record at. There's probably multiple ways of going about it, and you never know what's going to happen once you've sent it out, right? So they're either going to, not reply. That could happen too. And you have to know that they've probably gotten, if it is a really, really big artist, they've probably gotten other requests. They're probably not even listening to, requests from people that they don't know, right? So they're used to working with one person. They have a vibe. They create there, and then you're outside of that. I think there's a lot of, especially now that things are open, a lot more networking opportunities to get to a show that somebody that you admire or you're trying to get your work to could be present. There's definitely a lot of events there's places like this, obviously, and many more like them that I think will come, where you can have access to, the manager or, the label. Sometimes that's how the suggestion for music comes through as well. But you just never know, unfortunately. You kind of got to shoot your shot in a way, right?
Cool. And I also just want to add to that as well. With the Jacquel Culture House, the mentors are not looking for the best singer necessarily. Like, they're looking for songwriters and any talent that's going to actually be able to work with. So it doesn't matter if you're a great songwriter and you're not a great singer, you'll get spotted at, to be continued now.
By the way, this brother here, John, for those that don't know, actually used to be a big rock star. This guy here. There used to be a very popular rock band called Cassette, and they toured Japan and Europe, and he used to be the lead singer. So he's a cool guy. So songwriting part. As an artist or as a songwriter, it's everyone's dream to really place a song, with a great artist. And it just happened again that we're back here in Durban. My first placement was with Zahara's second album right here in Durban. And, I do believe, I have strong belief that the songs will always find a home. Like, great songs don't really, expire. So if you keep sharpening your tool, your pen, and just really writing great songs, man, in the right time, the great artists will get the songs. Like, songs are magic, man. They find their own way. They really are magic. So just keep writing right away, man. Right away, polish your work. So when the trend comes, you're ready to go and just keep flying. Write your work. And it's here. There's so much, to say about songwriting and income and everything that comes through songwriting. But I think when you have your songs ready, just make sure you have your work ready. Your demos are mixed, they're properly recorded, whatever. Because, if you bump into an artist, it's, somewhere, it could be here, it could be somewhere, in Joburg or in Durban. Like how I bumped into Robbie Malinga at King Shaka, and I played them demos, and that's how I got to write on Zahara's album. So just have your work with you, man. Have your work with you. And it's much easier, like Ninel said, to bump into artists now. And I feel like, demos, really great demos, are like business cards for songwriters. So artists, because it's a very tough one finding who will be the right artist to sing your song. But it's a thing that happens on its own, and that's the beauty of it. It really comes and happens on its own.
Guys, we've got time for about 3 more questions, and we're going to take a break. Who hasn't asked a question? Let me come down here.
Thank you. Hi, my name's Dan. Very nice to meet you. Thank
Hi.
you for all of your advice, everybody. Hi. I'm a singer-songwriter. I make piano pop. No, I know. So the feedback for the first two songs that I've put out was really great in Joburg, and I've made a lot of amazing connections, people that genuinely like the music and like me as a person. However, they work with a lot like bigger artists, and they can't find the time to assist me. Like, even just like you said, in the beginning stages of an artist's career, we need guidance, and that's something that I lack. I know who I am. I know the sound that I want to portray. I know how to articulate what I want to a producer. And I do have big, grand ideas as well, you know, for myself. But it's difficult to know who's real and not, because a lot of people also talk a big game when you're with them. And I'm not one to chase people. You know, I feel like, as you say, the universe will bring you what's meant for you. But yeah, so I was just like wondering, from a management perspective, how do you go about managing your time so that you have enough time to work with the smaller artists? Thank you.
Thanks. I think, you know, when you say, I'll answer your question, but just to pick up on what you said you're not the one to chase. Why not?
When I say chase, I mean beg.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't mind going after something and asking.
Cool.
Yeah.
Because I was just going to say that I think for sure there's some hustle involved in making sure that you land the partnership that you want, you know, in those beginning stages. And so definitely, you know, I think a little bit of enthusiastic aggression is probably a good thing, you know, to make sure that you're making progress that you want. I think for us, you know, Fifth Season is a boutique agency, so we only focus on a handful of artists at a time. And our preference, which is maybe a little bit contrary, is for developing artists. So we really enjoy the process of working with new artists, even if it's from sort of that time of the sort of first or second single. That's just personally, I guess, how the directors of the business, what we enjoy and our passion. And so we've really never, you know, shied away from that. It's been part of, I think, our success and our legacy as a business. And we'll probably continue to do that to a certain extent going forward. So it's not a problem for us, just because of how our business and because of us as founders, I think. But my advice to you would be to not, you know, I'm sure it is, you know, the setbacks can be disappointing, but you really have to keep going. You never know what's around the corner.
Hi, my name is Rushanda Lewis. I am a singer-songwriter.
Hello.
I just wanted to piggyback off what Guy said in the front there, but from a different avenue. As a songwriter, I think it's good to try and get your music out there to other artists, but also to get to like partnerships with Coke or the Simbas of the world. So how do you dip your toe into that? How do you get yourself into that avenue? Because I think that's pretty lucrative as well. Thanks.
I mean, I started off speaking about brand partnerships and how important they can be to get stuff done, and then eventually, you know, from a revenue point of view as well. And I think sometimes, so my perspective is, you know, a developing artist should recognize that they're in a certain chapter and certain things look like that. So you don't always have to put together a lifestyle of, you know, the rich and famous on Instagram when you're in a different phase, because you're actually building. Because one of the things that I think brands are looking for, you know, it sounds like a cliche, but authenticity is part of that. And so they're looking for certain things. If they decide they want to work with young and aspirational or aspiring artists, that's who they're looking for. And that could be you. So don't make up another version of it necessarily. The second thing I would say is that there are other brands that may not be a Coca-Cola, but they could be smaller, that are starting out and that actually want, you know, maybe what you're looking for too. And don't overlook those because they're not as big, or maybe their budget isn't as big. It can be very useful to grow with a brand over time. And I think there've been some if I think of clothing brand examples, for example, from a South African point of view, I think it's amazing how sometimes they've started dressing an artist from the first music video. Like I think of Bhutan Wear, like Julian and them, right? And they've been in little music videos in the hip hop space for years and years, just starting out. And now those same artists still support them, and the brands maybe are on similar sort of levels now. But I think that's a great story of growth. It means when you were starting out, you really both wanted the same thing. You wanted both to grow. And then you did that and you got to a certain point. And now you could get offered something because of that credibility that's been built by having a successful brand partnership. You have shown that you can deliver back brand value or marketing value to a brand. And you may have more choices now because maybe you got some budget to make really great visuals or music videos that actually got bigger audiences, and so many things can lead to that. So I would sometimes say that, for example, on Thursday I got something for First Thursdays. There's a shop in Joburg in Bram that's launching with a whole bunch of new designers. It's the kind of place I would encourage new artists that we've started working out to go hang out, go meet some designer friends, see what you guys can work on together, because you may find yourselves in the same mindset and be aligned to work together. And then, you just take it from there. Getting those big brand endorsements it's not easy. There's very few of them to go around. They're looking for very specific things. A brand like Coca-Cola has a lot that they need to protect over a legacy built globally over so many years. And so it's not going to be easy to crack in. Many would have tried. Agencies and companies would have tried to get the Coca-Cola business, right? So I'm not saying it's not possible. Definitely keep it in your vision board. But be realistic and try to also see what else there is and keep an open mind.
Greetings, everyone. My name is Onketia. Stage name is Keoditia. So,
hello.
I'm a multi-talented artist. I do Afropop and hip-hop. So I decided to come up with my own genre, which is called Pop Reggae, because I noticed where I come from, because I come from Potchefstroom. It's rural areas. Most of people, they don't understand hip-hop, so I decided to come up with my genre, which is a mix of R&B and hip-hop, which is very good for rural area people, because it's talk about things which is happening in life, you see. So the question I wanted to ask, how difficult it is to push a new sound to be popular worldwide?
That's a great question. And I think, it's the opposite of what we had said. I think previously somebody stood up and said that they'd identified that there was a gap in the market and they were going to create that. We had the same with you defining as a DJ, this is what I'm going to play, and there's a space for that. And so it really just depends on your perspective. I think that, everybody's talking about genres blending and genres not, many artists have stood up and said that they don't want to be defined according to a certain genre. And I think there's a certain realism that must come with that. For example, when you release a song on Apple Music, you have to click a genre so that you can go into the right genre playlists, right? So yes, make your own space. Decide if you think, like you said, it wasn't about the genre, but you felt as if the music spoke to things that people in that community be interested in hearing about, which means that that's actually your focus then on the storytelling or the narrative or the lyrics. And if you feel that there's an audience that can be built based on that, being able to relate to that, that's how great music is also sort of starts from there. But I think you just have to be realistic that we do still fall into certain categories because, at the end of the day, it is a product. So, you use the analogy of shelving. Which shelf does it go on? I think it needs to be important for the people that are listening to you to understand where to find you. And because you probably want to grow outside of this community, how do you tell people in London or, you know, in Korea, where to find you. So will be challenging, I'm sure, but you'd have to build your brand and your audience around what you think they'd want to come to you for, right? And then take it from there.
Cool. I also just want to add one thing, if that's okay, about some advice that might be helpful to those guys who are looking to work with brands. And you said such a cool thing, is that I find that most artists, when they're wanting to work with the brand, they're thinking about themselves, like, I need this brand to help me. And it's the worst way. That's just not right. And like Ninel is saying, there's so many brands. You need to look at the brands around you and identify what it is they need. What are their pain points? What are they struggling with? Maybe they're struggling to get into youth culture. Maybe and you know, if you look at Coca-Cola, what do they want? They just want mass reach. Can you give them mass reach? No, so it's not the right brand for you. But there might be another brand that's interested in something quite specific that you're interested in. And it's perfect because no one is approaching them from that lane. And when you approach a brand, you should never be going and saying, hey, this is what I am, this is what I'm doing. You should be saying, hey, I see this about your brand. I'm playing in that space. Maybe we can work together. And that'll open up a lot of doors for you. Hunters is a great, you know, Hunters we know, they have a passion for helping emerging artists. If somebody comes through this program, and starts to get success, and then approaches Hunters, and you can be their sort of success story that this program worked. Now you're talking about a real sponsorship opportunity. So always be thinking about what the brand needs. They only see themselves. So you gotta understand that's the language that you speak to brands when you start approaching them. And if you think that way, it'll open up a whole new landscape. You might find brands doing stuff that you didn't even heard of them. You can get money out of those brands if you understand what they're trying to do and see how you can fit in there. Cool. Ninel, thank you so much. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Guys, we're going to take a 15-minute break, but don't worry, Ninel is coming back with Shekhinah. And even if your questions aren't answered there, you'll be able to do a meet and greet downstairs at lunchtime. We've got a 15-minute break. Please keep it nice and tight. We're going back downstairs. And thank you so much.
Thank you, John.
Thank you, Trey.
Thanks, Trezor.
We'll see you shortly. Cool. Pound it. Can I ask you a favor? Sarah, she's the one with the laptop and the blonde. Cool, cool. Thank you, everybody. Welcome back. Just want to quickly remind you of what's going to happen now. We've got the second masterclass, and then there's obviously a Q&A that's happening after this. And then there'll be lunch served downstairs, of which both Shekhinah and Ninel will be there for a meet and greet, so you can chat to them, accost them. Also, don't forget hashtags. If you're going to do stuff on social media, there's a hashtag Hunters X Jacquel Culture House. Tag in Hunters and the Jacquel Culture House. Also, there are there's reps from Hunters here as well, so you can accost them as well. And hope you have a great second session. And then just a reminder, this afternoon, we've got the top 10 finalists. You're welcome to stay. If you need to go, that's no problem as well. And that'll be after lunch for the afternoon. Cool. Trezor, do you want to do the honors here, sir?
Hello again. Yo, guys, I need some energy. Come on, man. Hello again, Durban. How you doing? Oh, man. It's been such a great day. Marius, tell me when to stop. Right here? Thank you. It's been such a great day. Here? Yeah? Are you happy? Cool. It's been such a great day. Again, thank you for showing up. You're all looking so amazing, and the energy's been so beautiful. I hope you guys have enjoyed the insight and really the knowledge Ninel was sharing earlier. And I'm just up at around the same time when Sketchy Bongo, Evan Wolf, Shekhinah, all of us really were coming up and really breaking the industry. So it's really such an honor to have her here today. She'll be joined again by Ninel, and it's just a really beautiful place of powerful women doing the thing. You know, we're here to experience them and here to watch them really share the knowledge and experience. And I hope you guys have a good time. And I do believe afterwards we'll be hanging out, you know, together, you know, share questions, experiences. So, guys, again, we are here with our people from Hunters. We have Sarah here, marketing from marketing at Hunters, and they've been really very supportive of this amazing platform that I'm very, very, very passionate about. So thank you to the people at Hunters, and thank you to the whole team that is here today. And please have a good time, and please put your hand together for Shekhinah, and one more time, please come through, and Ninel.
Is it okay? Thank you.
All right, have a good time.
We will. Hectic. Yeah. I try. Guys, I'm so nervous. Hi. Hi.
She shouldn't be, right?
But yeah, thank you for having me. It seems so weird, but this is very necessary that we're all here and that you guys are here. I'm very proud of everyone for being here today. What is it today? Wednesday? Tuesday?
Tuesday.
Like making music and being in the industry every day counts. It's not just Fridays and Saturdays. So well done for being here on a Tuesday. This is important.
Totally. This industry never sleeps, right? You guys are listening to music anytime, anywhere, right? Walking, home, car. And so I think actually the hard work that artists put in, is also matching that. And I mean, Shekhinah, you're an amazing talent. Songwriter, recording artist, performing artist, multiple award-winning accolades to you. And I think, for me, I've seen, I guess, from the outside, this amazing journey to the top. And I thought maybe we should share a bit about that journey and some of the things that you can share with some of the artists. We've got a lot of interesting artists in the room. They introduced themselves a little bit earlier from all different stages, all different types of genres. And I think there's a lot that they could take from the example of your career so far. What are some of the things that you'd like to share, and maybe some of the myths? Maybe we should bust some myths.
Mythbusters. that we're lazy. We party a lot. And that being an artist is not something that's serious. But I think when I think about the US or anywhere else, it's like their biggest export is music. And like, that's what's so beautiful, is that this is actually something that's so important for people every day. And I think the biggest myth for me is just like, people ask me, what do you do every day? Like, if you're not doing a show, like, what are you doing, you know? And I think it's hard to explain that every day is important. Time is so valuable. Time is the most expensive thing we own. And you can't even waste a Tuesday, you know, doing something that's not with music. Every single day counts, whether it's attending a talk, having a coffee with Ninel, just to talk about what's going on. Every day is important for an artist. Like, I think that's my biggest myth, is having to explain to people that every single day I'm doing something. Yeah.
What does a day in the life look like?
A day in the life for me, I think now, I was just having the conversation before I came out. I thought I was going to go to studio on Saturday. And then I got told, no, we're in Cape Town on Saturday. So the day in the life is honestly, one, figuring out what the month looks like, because we live gig by gig, and making sure, okay, there's enough time to make money, to sustain yourself, to eat, to put clothes on your body, a roof over your head, but also making sure there's enough time to come back and create. So that's where I'm at the moment, is trying to strike a balance between when am I making money and when am I making music. So a normal day for me is, one, either an interview or a meeting or a brainstorm, or trying to get hold of someone like you from Hunters, or trying to get hold of a brand or whatever it is. When you perform with a live band like I do, we have rehearsal once a week. So a normal day is really just trying to figure out how everything else looks. And if I'm really lucky, I get to spend the day in studio.
That's amazing. I mean, you've got this hard task of balancing business, scheduling day to day, of running your music career, and then still getting into the right space for creativity, for, I mean, creating some of these beautiful songs that we all love. How do you think, you know, what's the ideal? How do you get to that creative space in that way?
Jeez. It's tough, but it comes in the moment and in the pockets of everything. And in the random conversations that you have, or bumping into random people or whatever. Like, when you're an artist, you're inspired by everything you see or whatever happens or touch or whatever. And I think even just sitting last night, having a discussion about coming here before was inspiring for me and put me in a creative space. Sitting with Trezor and getting to hear a demo of a song that's already out and super popular. You are inspired by absolutely anything, anywhere. And it's important for you to be in the moment to actually notice that this thing is actually something that could inspire me. But a lot of the times I'm the most uninspired and unmotivated, and I just want to Netflix and chill. But yeah, you really just have to find it. You really just have to find it. And I think being in spaces like this, meeting one another, is important, because we stay in communication, and I see, okay, you're up to something, and I'm inspired by what I see you do. So we also inspire each other, and it's important that our tribe and our circle are people that understand what we do, and are constantly also doing it, also pushing passion. So I try and stay close to people like yourselves and Trezor, follow those people. Those are the accounts that I follow, and food, a lot of food on Instagram. But most of the time I try and see what everyone's up to, you know. I think if you go through my story, who's watching my story, it's mostly musicians. And I realize that we all we need to be inspired by everyone, so we keep up to date with where everyone is and what they're doing. So yeah, make your life, center your life around all this stuff and the people that you meet today.
I love that, about centering. And it also makes me want to ask, how important do you think discipline and consistency are?
Discipline is important, guys. Like, discipline is important. Discipline is important because it gets fun.
Did you get that?
Yeah, it gets fun. It gets fun. It gets really fun. And then you get a bit lost in the sauce. I don't know, what is today, Tuesday? I feel like I'm still at the gig on Saturday. You have to just bring it in, eventually. But I'm probably one of the most disciplined people I know without being weird. And that's just because nothing else could make me happier. This is it. In whatever form or capacity music can bring to me, whether it's at the studio or at the festival, having this talk, like, nothing would make me happier. So I just need to make sure that I'm always doing this in whatever capacity possible. Every day is about music for me. And if I'm not disciplined by it, then I'll look at Trezor and think, what am I doing? And I don't want to have that moment where I'm comparing myself, but I have to be on top of my game so that I don't look at someone else and feel like I'm less than. I know that I'm giving 100%, and my 100% will pay off. I might not be moving at the same pace as so-and-so, but I know that I'm giving 100%. I think if you're that type of person that beats yourself up a lot, it's important that you put back time into yourself so that you don't compare yourself to anyone or anyone else's journey. But I'm a very disciplined person, and now sometimes I'm a bit boring, to be honest with you. I know I am. I think I went out on a Friday. Was it last week? Yeah, last week Friday I went out. I had a show on Saturday. I never do that. I was so unhappy in the morning. And that's why I have to be disciplined. I can't go out Friday because Saturday's the show. And I can't go out Thursday because Friday's the show. I need my voice. I need my energy. And someone said something weird to me the other day. I think it was Smash Africa. He was very reserved and calm. At the summers, he was very chilled. And I was like, Smash, like, I've never seen you like this before. You're so relaxed. He's like, no, energy runs out. So I'm preserving this, like, and that's where you kind of have to be. You have to preserve your energy for the right moment. You want to show up. When you see Trezor, you want to be on your best level. Like, this is the guy, You don't want to have expended all that energy doing something that wasn't important with your homies that don't have the same goals as you. So yeah, just be disciplined, guys. It pays off.
It definitely does pay off. If you think about when you started in the music industry, I guess those early days, maybe you can talk a bit about that, because maybe that still plays a role in how you're, yeah?
Definitely.
Okay.
So, Yashna's here. Yash, did we not sing all the time? Like, this has been us, dude. Like, this has been us. And even seeing you here today, I didn't know you were going to be here. And it's like, yes, queen. Like, this is what... No, seriously. Like, this is us. Like, if grade 9, we're not at choir on Tuesday, then we're all auditioning for something on Saturday. And we're always striving to... We've always been trying to create this life for ourselves. It's always been like that. And I think from grade 9, choir with the girls led to theater here at the Playhouse. And that was an extramural. It wasn't like something that was for school. We had to take time out. We had to add it to our schedule. And then from doing that, from doing plays, then I did Idols. And Idols was really special for me. Not because of the competition or what you see, because of the back end of it. And I think today you guys also get to see the back end of things. Those that are here is that, like, Trezor's to move into the light, move left, my mic is in the wrong place or whatever. There's a completely different side to every story. And when it came to Idols, the side that nobody saw was that every other day was a working day. Monday was a working day, Tuesday was a working day, Wednesday, Thursday we got to rest, Friday we were rehearsing, Saturday we were recording, Tuesday we were at vocal training, Wednesday we were doing song selection, we were picking outfits on Monday for the next show or whatever, and that is when I realized that this is how I would like to spend my weeks. That would be my world, you know, like Monday vocal training. And I can say that that's my life today, guys. If you catch me on a Monday, I'm at music lessons because I'm just obsessed with music and I want to make sure that it's an everyday thing and I don't get pulled too far away from it. So I saw that kind of model in Idols where they segmented every day into something that became a finished product, which was the show, right? Or the performance. And so much goes into that one performance, rehearsals, music, band, interviews, a video before, like, hey, catch my performance on Sunday. This is what I'm singing. Like, all of that stuff is done before. You really have to be prepared. And then after Idols, I tried to move to Joburg. So I moved to Joburg straight after matric. And I thought, okay, well, I've done that now. Let's see what happens. And absolutely nothing happened. Because I didn't take that discipline into the next year. And I realized that I needed more. I thought that I had all the experience that I needed from Idols, but I needed more. So I enrolled into college. I went to AFTA. You don't have to go to AFTA. I know AFTA is a bit expensive, but you don't have to go to AFTA. You can go anywhere. But going to AFTA was important for me because it was the same thing. You met with the cinematographers, the people shooting. You met with the producers, the people starting producing, which is putting together these things. You met with the directors, you know, John, who's introducing you guys, telling you what's happening. You realize that it takes a team to come out and be you. You met with the CMS people, costume, makeup, and styling, and they would help us with what we wear, our makeup, our looks, and whatever. And yeah, it was just, I just started to realize that it wasn't a one-man thing. It was teamwork any time that we had an exam or did something. So I really, before I came into the game, I really had the foundation that I needed. I had the recipe for success, and it worked. I'm at a different space in my career where I need a different recipe. But what I can say was important was that foundation of discipline and knowing who to get at the right time. So if I want to shoot something, I can call that guy that's behind the camera that I went to school with to help me. You know, relationships are important, guys. Never disregard anyone because eventually either they're above you or whatever, like the wheel turns, you know, you need everyone around you to help you. And that's how my career has been. It's been a hand up from everyone. And if I could do the same for you guys, then I'm down, you know? So I had a really good 3 years of school. And then obviously my third year was really cool because my exam was making an album. So most of the songs that were on my first album I wrote in college. Yeah.
You're amazing. And I think, I mean, consistency, discipline, scheduling, relationships. I mean, I think everybody that's, you know, attained any success in music would speak to the same values. I think it's interesting that you mentioned your team. I don't know the story about how you decided on who to work with. And I guess maybe you can tell us about the role that they play now.
Really cool. I don't know. I kind of just walked into it. I had someone that was helping me do management. I had people that were helping me make music, and I met them. They were at ASC, which is Academy of Sound Engineering. I don't know if is there an ASC in Durban? Sad. Yeah, so the sound guys, so the boys that were all studying sound engineering, music and whatever, I would go to the SABC because they had different stuff. They had rehearsal rooms, they had recording rooms, and you kind of just make friends with people, and then every week, like, the homies are helping me finish a project or whatever, and my drummer and my keyboardist, they've been the guys for 11 years now. So it's like you just end up growing and working with people, and that is important. When it comes to my team is my family. My sister manages me. My dad does my finances. and my best friend does PA for me. And that's because being an artist is hectic because it's you. It's not like you're not outside of the brand. It's not like hunters. You are hunters. You know, you are the brand, and it's very personal to you. So it's important that you have people around you that you can trust. I've been in a situation where a manager has stolen money from me, or people have shortchanged me, or I've signed bad contracts. Oh, guys, I've signed lots of bad contracts. You know what I mean? Make friends with the kids that do law that you party with. You know what I mean? Like, you need those guys. You need them. You're going to get into sticky situations. Please make friends with lawyers, guys, or people that are studying law, because eventually they'll be that guy that you need, or girl. But my team is very personal. I don't want anyone else looking at my money besides my dad. And I don't want anyone knowing my schedule, my insecurities, or things that are personal to me besides the people I know. Already my life is so public. It's important for the things that are in the background to be at least something that I can keep close to me. And eventually I will need a team that's not my family and that's external. But you do what works for you in the moment. And if that's your best friend, and if that's your boyfriend, and if that's cool. For a long time, my boyfriend was my road manager. I mean, we broke up and then, you know, we moved. But it was important for me at that time that I trusted him. He cared for me, and that was a good thing for that time in my life. Seasons also, guys, things change, you change. Don't be afraid to change the people around you as you change. It doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean that the relationships have to be bad with people you used to work with. It's just that we level up. We need to level up the same way. I don't know how to say it, you know. So don't be afraid to change the people you trust. Don't be afraid to change your producer. Don't be afraid to work with other people. Try different things. Trezor was telling me yesterday. Your team will change, but just keep around the people that you trust the most. This is a very personal job.
100%. Yeah. I think in your broader team, on the music side, how have you managed to build a partnership that clearly works? I mean, your albums are always nominated. You've just won a SAMA last Saturday. Congratulations. Best pop album in South Africa. So whoever you've picked or selected to work with on the music side around you obviously is doing great things. How has that worked out? How has it influenced, I think many of the artists earlier were speaking about defining their sound and starting out and creating that. How has that worked for you?
It's been great. It's been great. So I'm at that point where things need to change, and we can have that honest conversation, So the people that did Trouble in Paradise also did Rose Gold. Same team, same people, keeping the same sound, keeping the same vibe, keeping the standards the same. But when you want to level up, you want to level up. When you want to work with different producers, you want to work with different producers. But there's a level of consistency, and that's maybe in my mixing and mastering. My mixing and mastering is always done by the same person. My recording is always done on a specific microphone. It's just, those are the small things that I'd like to keep consistent. But other than that, I'm working on a new project at the moment. And for the first time, it's a different producer, different session musicians, different instruments. My first 2 albums were very piano heavy. Not piano, the genre, the instrument piano. Because I hung around guys that played piano. And now we've decided to maybe move to guitar. So our sessionist now is a guitarist. And that's just trying to do things differently, I guess. But I don't have the answers, guys, to be honest with you. I'm just sharing my way of doing things, and also trying to be honest and say that I would like to change things up. I think with the last project, I have 2 songs on the album. One is called Questions, and the other one is called I Love It, Yeah. And that was the first time I ever worked with other writers. And that was a beautiful experience. especially because the album was due. I was 2 songs short, and I just didn't have it in me, you know. So sitting in the room with other people that were like, "What are you going through?" And then I was like, "Okay, I'm in love with my best friend. Now what?" And then just like that, we were like, "Best friends don't sit this close," and it's important that you have people around you to help you. You can't do it by yourself. My favorite song has got 10 writers on it. So I'm in that space where I want everyone's opinion. Trezor, if you feel like listening to music and coming to the studio, you're welcome. But you need ears, you know. So yeah, I'm trying to change my process, guys.
It's great that you have such an open mind, and you're obviously constantly growing as an artist, which I think is awesome. And one of the things, you know, you mentioned earlier about, you know, sometimes things don't work out in a management agreement or in a contract. What about musically? As much as things can sometimes come together brilliantly, have they ever come to a clash, you know, label and artist?
Yes, definitely, always. Always. We're never going to see eye to eye, guys. Eventually, we learn to agree to disagree. And I think that's where I'm at with my label, is agree to disagree. And not even in a negative way, just in the way of like, this is how I want to do things. This is how you want to do things. But I think what's important is to always say how you feel. I think that's the theme of September for me. Is to be, every month is a theme for me. But this month is to always say how I feel, because I don't want to hold on to that anymore. And I think for the longest time, I was just very compliant, and I just held on to how I felt about my label. And eventually I realized the only person that it was upsetting was me, because if you don't say something, then the other person doesn't know how you feel. Therefore, the situation can't necessarily change or get better. And the way I want to go forward is I just want people to know how I feel, where we stand, how things are. So I've been very honest with my label lately on the things that I don't like. And hopefully they'll change. I can't say that they have yet, because it's a new process, but it's like that with everyone. It's like that with my own team. It's not just a label. It's making sure that I tell you, I don't like this. When I got here today, I didn't know where to go. And I told my team, I don't like that. I don't like that I'm walking around aimlessly. I just have to communicate this with you now, that next time we do something, please figure out what entrance we go to, or where we exit, or who we're looking for. Let them know that we're coming 5 minutes before, but it's important to communicate to see a change. Yeah.
When it comes to your sound as an artist, I'm just asking because this question came up earlier as well. How is that loop in studio for you? Has it always been as collaborative as you've described, with, you know, multiple writers, being open to new producers? You told me the interesting story about Suited, which I just find incredible.
Yes, Suited is interesting because I had to present the music to the label. I went there, I presented all the songs that I had. Everyone had left the boardroom. I was saying goodbye to my label manager. I was saying, thanks for listening. And he's like, cool, let's go with Please Mister as a single or whatever. Then I was like, oh, but there's one more beat. Like, someone just sent me a beat the other day that's really dope. And then I played the beat for him. And he was like, this is really nice. Do you have anything? And I was like, at the time I was very passionate about music, so I was singing for everyone at any chance. So I played the song, and then I sang what I'd written, which was obviously Suited, Suited, Suited. And then I sang that, and he just said, that's the single. But this is after we had already decided, gone ahead with it. And then we realized I had to go and record Suited. I hadn't even recorded it. So I went home and I recorded it, and then I handed it in, and then I took it back. And then I sent it to Maporisa, and then I got it back, and then I worked on it after I sent it to Pori, and then I handed it in 6 months later. And then that was the single, and that was obviously the song that changed my life. So sometimes these things go unnoticed unless you communicate. Communication again. Yeah, everything always happens so weirdly and unexpectedly. I didn't think that that's how suited would be. But in terms of my process, I'm always inspired by my producer or whatever piece of instruments I hear or whatever chord the muso plays. I'm inspired by that. That's how I work. So my sound is always a collaborative effort of whoever I'm working with at the time. It's not just mine alone.
I love that story. I mean, that was the biggest song. That song got a Pan-African remix. It went global. Amazing.
Thanks, Nini.
Should we pause for questions? Let me know if... Okay.
Cool.
Six Figures has got his hand up. I'm going to go somewhere else first, if that's cool.
Hello again. I'm not going to introduce myself, but...
Why?
Oh.
I don't know you.
I am Rosetta.
Hi, Rosetta.
Nice to meet you in person, finally. I have 2 questions for you. As a female artist in the industry, what challenges did you come across and you felt like it's because you're a female? And what mistakes or things that you'd like to change if you had a chance of going back, like mistakes that really shaped your career?
100%.
Thank you.
So the first question, as a female, men have this bad habit of like always like thinking they know better. That's my problem with guys. And the whole industry is run by men, so you're constantly like, and that's not the household I grew up in. I have like a super mom, you know what I mean? Like, also I'm a daddy's girl, but it's just that feminism was a big thing in my home. So coming into the industry was a bit tough because you're dealing with male ego. And I think my only problem is just that I don't see enough women in my spaces. That's my only hack. And so today, like, I'm happy to see women here today, and I'm happy that I've been paired with Ninel, because Ninel is a leading woman in our industry, and there's very few. You can literally count them. You know, if it's not Ninel, if it's not Melanie, if it's not Jade, you can count them, and I don't like that because there's so many male execs that you just don't even know because there's so many of them. So that's my only problem. I'm really big on equality, and I would just like to see more women in charge, because you believe when you see, right? And I think because we don't see a lot of women in the forefront, we don't assume that role naturally as women. Yeah, so that's why I like to kind of be this woman. I like to be very attached to my masculine side because I want women to feel like it's okay to be the boss, you know? So yeah, second question, anything that I would go back and do, I know that answer off the back of my head, and that would be to live in the moment, because time is so fleeting. And some of my best experiences, I was so busy critiquing myself and judging myself that I didn't appreciate what was happening at the time. So I think live in the moment, enjoy the come up, because before you know it, you'll wish you were that low key again. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Where was I? Hi, Shekhinah, how are you?
I'm good, how are you?
I'm good, thanks. My name is Uchablan Indian.
Hi, Jabulani.
And you know, a lot of people at these conferences don't like talking about the business side of music, and I don't know why.
It's an ugly conversation.
Yeah, but you know, we have bills to pay.
100%.
So let's talk about the importance of having a business manager, and at the same time with you, Nino, what kind of deals do you offer like artists, like licensing deal or management deal or 360 deals? So that's questions for both of you. Thank you.
Stunning. 6 figures. I named the song 6 Figures the other day. That's cool. Shout out. Yeah, you have to manage your money, guys. What little you have, you need help. You need help. You need help. You need help. I think if I didn't have someone managing my finance, I wouldn't have any finances. To be honest with you, I like to buy things. I'm very materialistic. I love shoes, makeup, bags. My bag. Okay, no, I'll show you my new bag. But don't talk about stuff. Dude, it's important. Business, like, it's important. It's important that I get the right percentage that I deserve when I contribute to a song. It's important that when I step out, I'm getting paid what I deserve to get paid. So you need people around you managing that you don't undersell yourself and that you don't oversell yourself and then end up doing nothing with your life because you're too expensive. But I have someone that helps me manage my finances. I also have an accountant, so I pay my tax. Please pay your tax, guys, because it also gets awkward when you're on the newspaper for not paying it. And I don't want that for any of you guys. So yeah, pay your tax. It's the right thing to do. Pay your I'm joking. But yeah, I have help, 6 figures. I have help, and it's important that I have help because I wouldn't be here if I didn't manage my stuff. I don't know if that answers your question, to be honest. Yeah.
I mean, I think you have a great approach. I think not everybody maybe feels or executes in the same way. And I think it is also challenging as a manager or label because those decisions aren't always yours to make when it comes to personal tax, when it comes to how money is being spent. Very often when you're close to the situation, you can see that, you know, especially overspending and, you know, it's still not within your control. If you're just the label, you're just the manager. Once it hits your bank account as an artist, you know, it's a lot of the responsibility is then on you. I think in terms of deals or partnerships with artists, it varies. We're in a position because we're a boutique agency. It depends on the artist that we're working with. I think we've not been shy to introduce new things and experiment or try more innovative sort of partnership styles. You know, I think we're in a position as an industry where very often, you know, this traditional model of record labels and advances and things like that it's almost not even necessary for a label to always play the funding role. And I think when we don't play the funding role as an investor in creating those assets, we can change splits, we can negotiate ownership rights and things like that. So we've been quite aggressive in exploring alternatives, and it really just depends on the artist. I think the way that we've started thinking about even just developing new work, I mean, we launched a production hub that focuses on piano, for example. We just want to work with a bunch of different artists in there, a bunch of different producers. We just want to get everybody in and see what comes out of that. And then, you know, based on how that does, I think, and you know, who shines, we can then decide how we partner with individual artists. But yeah, big focus on just creating the music first, then, you know, deciding step by step how we work.
I like that. Music first, then have the product before you're worried about how much money you're going to make from the product. And make sure the product is also good.
It's about the magical songs, right, Trezor?
Guys, this is Shekhinah's twin boy.
Come on. Hi, everybody. My name is Bianca Lamini. I'm just going to ask a question. I think it's mainly on behalf of all the artists and producers. So I'd like Tresor and Shekhinah to respond. Thank you, Nanel, for everything so far. We have a problem in KZN, or rather Durban, where we find a lot of our artists and producers having to move over to Joburg in order to get the recognition and in order just to progress. And I feel like it's a very serious problem, and I just want to ask you, Shekhinah, at what point, obviously you already told us, but like, at what point did you move to Joburg, and was it a conscious decision, based on the progression of your career, as well as for Tresor, was it the same for you as well? Did you, when you came to Durban, did you also experience the same problems that producers are experiencing? And one of my main things is I wish that producers would also, you know, be out there and be known. So to Tresor, how can producers actually get themselves out there?
Are you a singer or a producer? Okay. Oh, awesome. The music that broke me into the industry, I was definitely Back to the Beach and Let You Know, and that was all made in Durban with Durban artists. So I think that's very subjective to how you look at things. I wouldn't have had a breakout if I wasn't in Durban. And then when I think about artists moving to Johannesburg, I think you just have to understand that, like, this is a coastal city, so the energy is going to be very coastal-ly, relaxed, laid back, and city life is going to be what that is, busy and whatever. Depends on how you like to work. And for me, that's what worked for me. I wanted to be in the city. I wanted to be where people were doing things that way. I think that some of the greatest artists, we were having this conversation yesterday, come from Durban. So we are Durbanites. We do work together. It's literally just a thing of changing your environment to be inspired, to see something different, to live somewhere different. We always want to be in Durban, though. That's one thing you can bet your bottom dollar on, is that every KZN person in Joburg wants to be back home, because home is beautiful. But you can still make hits here. There's still great people here. It's just that the city is the city, and Durban is not that.
Amazing. Thank you so much for sharing that. I think just to complete what Shekhinah said, or just to add on, I find Durban to be a city that is really, whose greatest strength is really incubation for talent. I don't think I could turn out to be the artist that I am today if it was not for me living in Durban for the years I was here. And please do not neglect those years or look down on those years, because I think as an artist, there is a phase and time for everything. You know, there's a formation phase where you need to have the space. You need to have, it's not even a phase where you even need to be much stressed about money or anything. It's just a phase where you're really still shaping yourself as an artist. And I think that's really one of the greatest, Durban role for a lot of artists that come from here. People are very alternative here, man. You know, a lot of cool kids come from here. You know, I think it just, I look at, the amount of artists that come from here and the genre, be it hip hop or R&B or dance music or house. It's just like you have Black Coffee, you have Zex, you have Tira, you have Shekhinah, you have Nasty, you have Black. It's just the diversity is crazy.
Blackie, what?
You know, and the reason for me, I feel is like Durban has, the space to be able to breed that kind of talent, and that is Durban's strength, and sometimes, not just sometimes, often, the cities with the greatest talent don't really get to keep them for the longest, and when you speak to a lot of guys in the US, people move from all over the US, be it Texas, or some people move from Canada, Toronto, to be based in LA or New York. And because they shape themselves where they come from, and then when you're ready to go out there and exploit your talent to the world, you get to do that. Because I come from a very small city in the DRC. It's a small city called Goma, and when I was about 18, I knew, okay, I think I'm done here. It's also funny, not a coastal city. We have a beautiful body of water, but that's why I've always been attracted to water. And, if I didn't leave at that time, nothing could really happen to my life. And I moved here, and then for 6 years, I'm like, oh, I think I'm ready. then I moved, you know. So I don't know what way is really next, but as an artist, you gotta learn to really detach yourself. You know, you have to, you have to, because you go where you're receiving the love, you go where you need to be in that particular time in your career, because it's very important. I think a lot of artists that never left where they come from really, I know for a fact, really regret not leaving at the right time. You know, and when you live, when leaving is not necessarily that you abandoning. It's just like you know, I feel like Black Coffee comes here all the time. Zex, everybody comes here all the time, and Shekhinah is here all the time throughout lockdown. You know, so it's all, home is always home. You know, but you know, I feel like in essence, going out is really, you always bring pride back to where you come from. So I don't think it's something we need to change, but rather I think change the perspective of like looking at Durban as this incredible incubation, you know, for like artists. Like, this is the place where you need to shape yourself. It's a base camp, you know, where you need to like do everything you can be able to do as an artist to get better, to be the best you can be. So when you go out there, it's away from everybody, so you can't really be influenced by sound in Joburg or Pretoria or whatever. You just like out here in Durban, just like coming something fresh. So when you go out there, it's like you bring something fresh. Every time you hear artists from Durban, when they jump onto the scene, they're like different, because there's no one like that, you know, and that's something so powerful. And going to your question, Bianca, about producers, I mean, it's really depending on each producer. Like for me, I feel like when making music, you know, when producing or writing songs for a lot of artists, you know, it's gotta be up to you if you really want to be popular or you wanna have your name out there, whatever. But if I hear something really cool, trust and believe I'll find the person. Yeah, like naturally, like I'll find them. I think for people that know me, you'll know, like, I'll find them, you know. So, like, you don't need even to advertise, like, and the right people will find you, you know, like. And I'll share with you guys something so powerful. Like, in the last year alone, I've done like about like recorded like songs that are out, about 8 songs with Drake, and all that happened. I was just chilling here. People got in touch, you know. So if 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 someone wants to get in touch with you because of your work, like just focus on your work, focus on your sound, focus on doing you. Like when you're ready and when they wanna get in touch, trust and believe they'll find you, because the music will always make a way.
Oh, please, I needed that.
Cool. Who's there? And just for the record, the reason Trey isn't turning around to look at you is because I asked him not to, so the camera can see him. That's why. Who is next? Anybody next? We've got a question here.
Good day again. Hi, Shekhinah.
Hello.
It's nice to meet you.
What's your name?
Oh, I'm Sibongiseni, Sibo Sensation.
Sensational, baby.
You feel that when you hear my music.
Exactly.
Yes, my writing is very sensational. So, can you please discuss about the studio time? What is this, royalties, or how does it work? Because as a songwriter, I really want and need to like write for artists, but when I go and meet them, I don't know like what to expect. When I get to the studio, maybe they have a beat, or I have to come like sort of like being a lyricist, or maybe I come with a beat. How does it work? How do I fit in? How do I get royalties after maybe 2 years? How? Cause I do have a friend who's writing music, and he wrote for Linda Quenza. I can share with you the song. The song is titled Kuku. His name is Ola Music. So he does get the royalties, but I just want to understand how does it work? when you go to the studio. I just heard Ninel now talking about not to. I'm just mentioning it. Not to like speak about money. Just do the project and then speak after. But I'm a bit concerned. Yes, I'm a bit concerned about the studio works. Yes.
No. There's a conversation that I think needs to be had about split sheets from an artist perspective, and this is a big problem. I think I'm not sure why, but I mean it's a constant conversation. There's been big debates in our industry over the last year or so. A lot of things have been on social media related to this. And what you've got to agree is going into a session, and the same with the production hub project I was talking about. There are splits that were agreed. I'm just saying it's not a complicated process. It's really just a one page. In fact, any publisher will say, even if you just email percentages to the song once you've recorded it, they will go and capture and do all the bits and pieces. It just needs to be on record somewhere. But how do you deal with it? And then, I mean, at Trezor, you could obviously also answer this really well.
I think Shekhinah should go ahead first.
Me?
Yes.
Me?
By the way,
Trezor,
she owns a really cool studio in Johannesburg called Figure of Eight. So I recorded way before she bought it, I recorded most of my first album vocals there with the previous owner. So I'm really proud of her that she owned that really incredible piece of
Thank you. Yeah, I got the studio because I couldn't afford studio time. I think for most of my career, I made everything in my spare bedroom. So whenever I was having a place, it was 2 bedrooms, 1 bedroom for me, and 1 bedroom for a studio. So I've always worked at home through home, but I think I needed a studio space. So that's what the studio is about. In terms of the splits, I'm still in a weird space with that because it's just, Ninel says it's easy. I will be honest with you, I don't believe it's easy. But it is easy. It's just that it's tedious, it's difficult, it's intricate, and you have to really say what you contributed to the song and also be fair and realize that there's other people eating from the same pie. So like, you know what I mean? And also the main aim, as much as it is to make money, is to make a great song. So most importantly, you need to just go into the session and give all you have. Don't worry about, am I just contributing the beat or am I just doing the vocal? If I just contribute the beat, then I get 50% of the song. Like, no, contribute as much as you can. Then before the song gets released, you need to have a conversation about what's happening. I'm in a situation at the moment with that. The song is out. They don't want to give me the percentage I want. So it's a bit of a bad situation, and I've been doing this for so long. You would think that I wouldn't be making this mistake at 28, but I'm in a situation where I'm struggling to figure out what's my percentage of the song. But there's so many things that go into it. It's important that you have this conversation with a publisher. I know that the places like Samro, Capasso, they want to have this conversation with you. I can't have this conversation with you. Those people can. It's important that you make time. I think that is a beginning step for artists to go to Samro, to go to Capasso, and explain to them, I'm a new artist, I would like to sign up. Sign up. Get an understanding on what an artist royalty is, what your publishing splits are, how you split a song, what is considered a writer, a composer. Like, just have a little bit of information. As much time as you spend in the studio, also spend that time on understanding the English behind these things, because it's the English that dribbles us. And I speak English full time, but I'm still dribbled by the English, and it's those words that get you into bad contracts or bad situations where you're not getting paid what you deserve. But I would say, if you're in the beginning process of it, just give everything you have to the song first, and then discuss what you take. Because what's most important is we want to know who Mr. Sensation is, before you get your money. So I think just make a great song. you know, and then we'll talk about royalties later. But I know 6 figures is like, let's talk about business. So yeah.
Hold on a second. I just want to do something. Ninel, your mic is not working. Can you come here, swap with Trey? Because I know this is a big subject. Just for 2 minutes. So we then we can fix a mic and you can talk from the stage.
All right. What's up, Shaggy?
Please tell these people about royalties.
All right, guys. That's a very important question. Again, as I said, I think for me, songs are really like the center of everything. So there are no superstars, there are no tours, there are no whatever. Like the music industry really revolves around music, and that's really great songs, right? So songwriters are really the most important. They're really very important people in our industry. So speaking about royalties, I think before anything, as a songwriter, you need to understand what is your right as a songwriter, right? And I'm sure you know what a publisher is the person that represents your rights, copyright as a songwriter. But a lot of people early in the career, like all of us, you don't necessarily have a publisher. So they are CMOs, like collective management organizations such as SAMRO, which is like the main one here, that really helps you and protects you if you do register as a member. And when it comes to splits, like I think that's a very, very, like Shekhinah said, it's always a tricky one depending on people's personalities, right? Naturally, I'm not a fighter, like in my nature as a person. But if someone tries me, then I fight them. I'll say why, because I know what my rights are. I'm always fair. I know if I deserve 50%, if I deserve 60, or deserve 75. And if I've created something that I do believe strongly, and we agree, like in between us, that my contribution was much higher, or the third person that was in the room, and I think we're giving a fair split. And there's always a person, like there's so many situations, man. It's all about relationships. So I think I've managed to fight a lot of the conflicts just working with people that I trust. So because some young artists or some people just generally are very short-sighted, so if you're trying to go far, sometimes if you're working with a bigger artist, it's always a game of push and pulling. So meaning you sacrifice something for something bigger. You gotta have a much longer vision. In some rooms, people try and take advantage because maybe you're too nice. In other rooms, people will genuinely be fair, and you'll get whatever percent that you deserve. So don't ever project, so each situation is different, very different. When you make a different song, it's very different. But basically, always trying to get what you deserve. And in situations where you feel you can be able to get more in the future, the chess move. So don't try to get too much to ruin a relationship when you can actually be able to get slightly less and have a longer relationship. You understand? So it's all about just being wiser and just playing. Each situation is different, and there's no, personally, I don't think there's any set rule how to make splits, because how do you count the words, the melody lines? Like I know personally, I write 99% I write and mostly produce my own stuff, just because I enjoy that way. But if there are particular songs, I'm like, yo, I'll need a help so and so. Because I have a relationship with everyone that I work with, I tell them, yo, I can give 15%, but this is what I need from you. Or I can give 20%, and this is exactly what I need from you. And in my career, I've been writing songs for years. I've had maybe 2 or 3 fights. And and it's okay, like it's not the end of the world. It's like business. You have to understand, like, aside from the song, from the creative side, when you start talking split, that's business. It's money, and naturally people get uptight with money. So it's okay. You're gonna find yourself in those situations anyway, and you're not gonna be the first and the last one. Every single artist, be it Beyonce, Adele, Ed Sheeran, everyone been there. It's fine. Just gotta deal with it with grace, toward yourself and the other person, if they deserve it, of course. And publishing royalties. We don't have a big publishing or a big songwriting culture in South Africa. In fact, on the continent. But I think we're changing that.
That's the plan.
Yeah, I think we're changing that in a sense where, like, I think my biggest dream is to build the most innovative, exciting, biggest publishing company from the continent, placing songs in Europe, in the US, right from here. And it's possible because I see it, I'm doing it, and I think the world is seeing that, okay, there's something magical happening on the continent. And it's really amazing because 10 years ago, things were so different. And there is so much money that comes from songwriting, man. It's ridiculous. It's stupid. It's nuts. So that's why you should be able to, as a songwriter, to focus so much on your work, because who knows, when the time comes, you might be able to really actually change your whole life and your family life and everyone around you. And earning as a songwriter, there's so many societies, equivalent of Samros in all over the world. And I'll just tell you how I think for me is the best way to structure things. First, if you don't have a publisher, the first thing you should do, please register your stuff with Samro. It's really as easy for you to claim the copyright of something you've written. If you've written, it's a voice note you can email to yourself. You can it's really if you have a tangible proof that you wrote something, and and the dates and the time and whatever, first go through the process to register through Samro. And if your music is playing on radio or whatever, they're going to track that. And I know this was not really part of the question, but on the song, there's always a lot of royalties, and there's, of course, the publisher, the writers' royalties, but also there are performers' royalties. There's another collection agency called Sampra that really looks after the musician that plays on the recording. So if you played guitar, if you sang on the recording, if you played a marimba, if you just did a little shaker, you can still get your money out of it, and the reason I'm saying this is because if you did, let's say, a song and you sang on it, and 2 of your friends produced on it, everyone can be able to get a bit of money if the song has done very well. So that multiplied by 10, 20, 30 songs, you start getting enough money, to sustain yourself. You know what I mean? And you don't even need to be signed to a publisher at that time if you haven't reached that level yet. You know what I mean? So please go and learn about Samro, which is mainly focused around composers or writers, producers, and Sampra around performers, which is mainly around just singers and guitarists and keyboard players and, just anyone performing, These organizations that I get to learn every day. I'm on the board for directors for Sampra, and it's really just exciting to see, and it's exciting to just be around and see how much you're doing for the artists. And I know if you being in Durban is kind of removed from everything else, so I think we're going to try, next trip to try and bring some of the guys down, because the talent here is really amazing. But again, as I said, just to repeat, the first thing you should do as a songwriter for yourself, go and do your research or even start the process of being a member of Samro. They'll tell you how to register your work, how to notify your work, and all those things. And once you've done that, move over to Sampra, and trust me, you'll thank yourself later.
100%.
Thank you, Trezor. All right, Ninel, can you come? We've got 2 more questions, guys, and then it's lunch. Any questions? One there and one there. Okay, those are the last 2. Here we go.
And there's books, guys. Sorry. There's books. There's one book called Steal Like an Artist, and then there's one, a book called The Music Business or something. So look for those books also. Having a copy of that would be dope.
Hi, Shekhinah, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Very well, thank you. My name's Dan. I've introduced myself to everyone. I won't do that again. I just wanted to ask you, I watched you perform in Joburg, Good Morning, and you were so present, and like, I just wanted to ask what your performance tips are of keeping yourself so centered. Like, I've never seen that in my life. It was, wow, it touched me.
Thank you, Dan. Sure. That was a good day for me. So if you saw my performance on Saturday, wow, it was a mess. But performance is amazing. It's so much fun when the situation is right. I know it sounds crazy, but I always ask God to go before me. And secondly, I always do a 5-minute YouTube vocal warm-up. And thirdly, I just try and have fun. And I look really crazy when I'm performing and very unflattering and just not great. But that's my moment to like really embody the words that I've written, or, you know, it's the only time like that song really means something is like when I'm there, and I think I have specific songs that I know what to do like in all of them because I rehearse all the time. But just be prepared. Rehearsal's dope. Rehearsal's great. And yeah, just have fun.
Thank you.
Also, why are you in Durban, Dan? Are you from Durban?
I just moved to Sheshlui.
Oh, vibes. Awesome. Congratulations on your music.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Who was next?
Greetings again. My name is Onketia. How are you doing, Shekhinah?
I'm good. Thank you. Nice to meet you,
Yes,
Onke.
yeah. I wanted to ask if some of our big artists, they've been complaining. They say digital platform stores doesn't pay enough money. So since music was closed, before people they were using CD, I think you remember.
Yes, I do.
So now, so now because time has changed, it's a technology. So I was wondering if that is true. Why don't you try maybe this method of putting music on CD and then put your album cover on CD, if you know what I mean? Let's say if it's 1 gig, so you're going to put all your song there in CD, then sell it on the street, because some of people now they can't reach to your music because they don't understand about digital platform stuff. So it's a long way to teach them how to stream. So don't you think that some of artists they're losing fans?
I hear you.
Yes, because if you can go back to where I come from Potchefstroom, some of people they only heard music on radio, but they can't buy it. But before they used to buy it on street when you come and sell your CD. So if you could everyone here, this could help everyone. They could use this method to connect with a company which is going to distribute your music on CD and put your cover there, then sell it to people. Start again afresh. I think you could sell a lot of platinum. Okay.
Do you have something for that? That's hectic.
I can.
I'm just thinking about this question and the splits now. When I'm selling the CD for 100 Rand, and then my producer's like, "Where's the 50 Rand that you owe me?"
But it doesn't work like that.
It don't work like that.
I feel like, like for guys that don't understand, so whoever invests in the recording most of the time, like as a standard, owns the recording. If I paid for the studio sessions and I pay for the session musicians and production, so that's 100%, right? So based on the agreement, like I have a contract with my own company because I'm self-signed, right? So my company, let's say, gives me 30% of the income I make. That 70% stays a company money. You understand? But out of that 30%, that means I have to pay, let's say, producer royalties, the standard, normally depending, could go for 3% for new ones or to 6% for superstar producers, right? Of the recording. And when you're talking about selling CDs, which I think when we both did our first albums, there were CDs or like, you know, like.
We remember, I promise you, we
Trust
remember.
me.
We remember CDs.
You know what I mean? So I think, you know, like, you just gotta know your audience, naturally. I think understand your target market. Like, I know for a fact, you know, one of my favorite genres still moves music in CD, Maskandi, right? Like, you know, when, you know, if a Puzo Chemist is dropping, like, I'm sure the line is crazy, you know. You know, and that for me is what it is. Like, I know the world is moving fast, but you don't want to lose out on the coin that is there for you to collect. So if you feel genuinely like your audience is about CDs, then please, you don't have nothing to lose. You can still do the streaming and CDs. The reason why, like, we had this conversation so many times, one of the fastest rising method of music distribution right now is vinyls, which I love very much. But in the US, the vinyl demand has risen. In the UK, it's like crazy right now. But vinyls are from like the 60s, the 80s. Like, there was a time where CDs were as cool as streaming when they came through, because it was from vinyls and then become this small compacted disc, you know. So just know your audience, man. Like, if you feel like your target market is all about CDs, please make the CDs, but also don't lose out on new potential fans that could be on streaming. So you're actually winning on both sides, you know what I mean? That's pretty much it.
You answered that so amazingly. Jeez, thank you. I think I'm also here learning with you guys. Like, the learning never ends for me, unfortunately. Fortunately, learning is tough.
Ladies and gentlemen, please give such a warm hand to Trezor, Shekhinah, and Ninel, Hunters and the Hunters and Jacquel Culture House. We hope you've had a good time. And so what's happening now, just to remind you, you can hang out with these three legends downstairs in the little foodie hall. You can ask them questions. Please be respectful of their time. I'm sure a lot of you want to talk to them. So again, no disrespect when I was saying earlier, don't give your whole life story. If there's information you want, get the information. If there's something you want to give the thing. But try not to hog them. And for those who are interested in staying for the top 10, that's going to be starting in about an hour. We're going to serve lunch downstairs. And guys, again, a privilege to have you guys here. Thank you so much for being here. Woo. Good job. And you can cut the stream, by the way.